Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your Sutradhar for the next 2 days. My name is Anisha Thakkar, and once again, a very, very warm welcome to each one of you to Global Heat and Cooling Forum 2025. First of all, can we have a round of applause for yourselves? Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much, everybody, for your valuable time. Before we begin, there are a few protocols which we will follow for the next 2 days. First, make sure that you engage with speakers, panelists, and fellow attendees in a professional and courteous manner, which I'm sure everyone will do. Very important, make sure your cell phones are all on silent mode. Yes, ladies are just taking that out to do it. Thank you so much for being so obedient. All the sessions will begin and end on time, so kindly arrive early to secure your seat. During the question and answer sessions, be concise and relevant to allow others the opportunity to ask questions. Make sure that you scan the QR code which is on your badges to type in any questions you may have for the panelist. Be mindful of others' time when networking. Exchange contact details for necessary follow-ups. Follow all venue safety regulations and designated areas for food, drinks, and discussions. Dispose of waste properly and help maintain a tidy environment. Once again, scan the QR code on your agenda to pursue the agenda, bios of the speakers, and a background note for the event. Ladies and gentlemen, to set the stage, our inaugural session, Heat and Cooling, Interwoven Challenges in a Warming World, will highlight the deep interconnections between heat resilience and sustainable cooling. With that, let's embark on this journey together, one that promises not just dialogue, but real momentum for change. It is my honor and I'm delighted to invite our esteemed speakers to the stage. Please put your hands together for Shri Samir Quatra, Senior Director, India, Natural Resources Defense Council, NRDC. Mr. Samir Quatra leads NRDC's India program to advance clean energy, clean transportation, public health, and locally effective climate solutions in the country. A round of applause as I take the opportunity to invite forward Mr. Samir Quatra. Can we have you on stage, sir? Next, ladies and gentlemen, Srimati Deepa Bagai, Country Head, NRDC, India. She has more than 30 years of experience and substantive technical specialization in public policy, institutional strengthening, and public sector reform at the international, regional, country, and subnational levels, including in complex political contexts. Another round of applause for Srimati Deepa Bagai, ladies and gentlemen. I would request you, ma'am, to join us on stage and take your seat. All right. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Krishna S. Vatsa, Member National Disaster Management Authority, NDMA, Government of India. He has worked in the area of disaster risk reduction and recovery for the last 25 years. A round of applause as I welcome Dr. Krishna S. Vatsa on stage. Next, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Arvind Kumar, Special Chief Secretary, Disaster Management, Government of Telangana, who will be joining us online today. Arvind Kumar, who is a bureaucrat civil servant in Government of India. He has been in the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, since 1991 and has worked in various capacities at the state level in the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh and now Telangana state for over 2 decades. A round of applause. Sir will be here online with us. Next, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Anita Gupta, Head of Scientific Divisions, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. She oversees a comprehensive portfolio of programs on climate change adaptation and mitigation. Dr. Anita Gupta, ladies and gentlemen. Up next, Shri Abhas Jha, Practice Manager, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management, South Asia region, the World Bank. He's an expert in public policy focused on cities, technology, infrastructure, climate risk, and resilience. Shri Abhas Jha, ladies and gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my honor to invite and welcome on stage our Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Chandrasekhar Pemasani, Ministry of Rural Development and Ministry of Communications, Government of India. A round of applause as I take the opportunity to welcome Sir on stage. बहुत-बहुत abhinandan. बहुत-बहुत स्वागत, sir. Dr. Pemasani Chandrasekhar is a graduate of Osmania Medical College and a renowned physician, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. He founded UWorld, a leading online learning platform, and was honored with the Ernst and Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2020. Actively engaged in philanthropy, he has contributed to healthcare, education, and community development in both India and the US. A very, very warm welcome to you, sir. Next, ladies and gentlemen, Shri Manish Bapna, President and CEO, NRDC. Manish Bapna joined NRDC as President and Chief Executive Officer in August 2021, taking the reins of one of the world's largest and most influential environmental organizations. A very, very warm welcome to Shri Manish Bapna. Requesting all our dignitaries to settle down on stage. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to officially kick off our forum, it is my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Sameer Quatra, Senior Director, India, NRDC. Please join me in giving him a warm round of applause as I welcome him to my podium. Very warm welcome to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? Let's see if I can. Okay, cool. Yes. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Really grateful that you're here. I know many of you have traveled from outside Delhi. Some of you have traveled from all parts of India. And I know at least a few have traveled from all over the world. So thank you very much. Thanks for joining. My colleague, Ms. Deepa Singh Bagai, will give a more polished welcome, but I just wanted to say I'm really glad that you all are here. My job is just to warm us all up for this excellent discussion. And the pun was totally unintended, but I can assure you over the next 2 days, you'll hear a lot of hot topic, cool solutions kind of things. So let's begin with a game. You see lots of young faces here, so yeah, hopefully this should be. So the game is basically you have to guess the question. You know, if some of you are familiar with Jeopardy, is like the answer is given and then you have to guess what the question is. It's like, let me give you an example. You know, if I say, this is the most popular question in all cooling related conferences. Like you have to come up with an answer, which is basically a question. So the question could be, I mean, it's obvious, right? Where is the bathroom? The most common question. Or when is lunch? You know, those are the two most important questions in any conference. But, so you have to guess the question. That's the model. And I'll give you a hint. This question has been pondered over by sages and ancient texts all over the world. You have to guess the question. Already some hands up. Okay, just hang on. I'll give some more hints as well so we can see more hands. So the second hint, still the same question. When I first went to the US, you know, me and one of my fellow Indians, both strictly vegetarian, thought we'll go out for dinner, and he suggested let's go to McDonald's. And I looked at the menu, looked at him, and this was the question that came to my mind. That's your second hint. So still related to the ancient wisdom question. Third hint, it's getting interesting, hopefully. This is the multiplex days. My mom and I went to watch this critically acclaimed Hindi Vishal Bhardwaj movie. And after about 6 minutes we probably entered the wrong screen, multiplexes, of what we thought must be the longest trailer for the Planet of the Apes, my mom turned to me and asked me this question. Same question. Any guesses? Now I can see the hands. Oh, the initial hands are down now. I've confused you more. Okay, at least one hand is there. Yeah, of course, venture a guess. There's no wrong answer. Okay, please, just shout it out. I don't think we have a mic. Very, very good question, but not the right question. That's also very good, very related, yes. Oh my God, this is such a good group. You've cracked the code. I would say we have to keep asking this question again and again and again. We are past capacity. We had twice the amount of people that we planned for. So there is clearly a lot of interest in this topic. But why are we here today? Let's look at 3 perspectives. 1, motivation. Numbers. We know what's happening in the world. We know temperatures are going up, records are being broken year after year after year, yet again. It's the same story. 2024 was the hottest year. You don't even have to check the news these days. It's just assumed to be the hottest. 2025 is yet projected to be again the highest. I mean, these numbers can be numb. What does it really mean? 1 billion people are at high risk. Yeah, who are these 1 billion people? 250,000 additional deaths just due to heat stress and a couple of other things. Birds, did you know about that? I was just so shocked. But the more you research, the more you find out. So there's enough motivation for us to be here. Let's not be numbed by the numbers. Use those as evidence to propel us to do something. That's one reason. So motivation, and then goals. Why are we here? What are our goals? People are the same who are looking for access to cooling and suffering from extreme heat. Right? And yet, in our siloed efforts to solve problems, we develop heat action plans, we develop cooling action plans, but can we come up with integrated action plans that synergize, complement these efforts? Can we bridge the gaps in knowledge? There are already a lot of solutions within this room, and we'll see some of those over the next 2 days. Can we bridge the gaps in finance, in capacity, in investments to actually make these solutions real? Can we focus on implementation and not just on recommendations? That's the intent. And the third, how do we foster this collaboration over a longer term? We have so many experts here, but how do we make these linkages and persist? Do not make heat or cooling a seasonal thing. This is not just this heat season. It is something that's here with us for many, many years unless we do something about it. So how do we foster this collaboration? So I talked about motivation, I talked about goals, and finally, why are we here? Intention. We talk about intention. So think about a time when you were exposed to extreme heat and had absolutely no recourse. You couldn't go into an air-conditioned car, air-conditioned space. By the way, I hope that no ironing Monday is still alive. I know there was this IIT Chennai effort, on Monday, no ironing. I hope we can also look at not being in super air-conditioned halls and feeling hot under the collar. So the intention is, think about the time when you were exposed to one of those extreme heats. If you are privileged enough not to do that, then think about a person, who you can visualize, somebody, the vegetable seller, or somebody on the bike, people on food delivery, or if not, think of the faceless people outside. And then how can we do something now which will make a difference to their lives? How can they make their lives better? If you go back to the first slide, all those thinkers, when they thought about why are we here, I'm sure they'll agree that if we can make the world a better place, that's really a good reason for us to be here. So with that, thank you very much for joining, and I'll hand you over to our panel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Quatra. I thought I did inform people why are we here, but thank you so much for making it so interesting for all of us. Now, even I am ready for the day. That was perfect for our discussion today. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite to the podium Ms. Deepa Bagai, Country Head of NRDC, for her keynote speech.
Namaskar, Swagatam, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. This is a very important and very significant occasion for us that we have gathered here now. And over today and tomorrow, we are going to discuss one of the most pressing problems that we are facing and will continue to face in our country. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome some of the key people here who are going to help us moving that agenda and finding those solutions. I'm grateful to all of you in the audience who are here to help us to think through that and to take us forward on that path. I'm particularly delighted. Our MC has introduced the other speakers, but I'm particularly delighted to welcome Honorable Minister. I have to say, I have no hesitation in saying that very few of us reach a meeting 5 minutes before the scheduled time. So a big round of applause to Honorable Minister for keeping his word. And this is not only in his punctuality. For those who don't know him, please look at his Wikipedia page and you will be impressed and inspired. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for being here. I just want us to consider for a minute some of the issues which Samir, my colleague, already highlighted. But the important thing that we have to talk about, think about, and act upon is what we call the heat divide. That is something that separates all of us who are sitting here from a lot of the people who enable us to be ready to sit here. So those people, those construction workers, the fruit seller, the person at the traffic intersection, the policeman, those are the people who are directly affected by this heat divide. So cooling and heating are both then two sides of a very integrated coin. Access to cooling is extremely important. We cannot deny it, and we cannot say that, it is a luxury, it is a necessity. Similarly, heat is something that is not going to leave any of us untouched. So that is again a very important part. I would just like to point out, you will see the logo of this convening, which is actually a jali. If you see this is a jali. This symbolizes so much coming together, but also the fact that a jali can provide, in all our traditional architecture, it has provided that shaded corridor where you are not in the direct heat, and yet you are cool enough to be able to survive and function. So it is this that we have to think about, whether we think about it in our architecture, in our technology, and in all those
affairs have been pushing the creation of heat action plans. I mean, we've tried to make it not another piece of paper, not another 50-page, 100-page document which nobody is going to read, but a document that is basically focusing on assessments, going to the smallest area in a city, or maybe a ward, maybe just a colony, and figuring out what is the risk of heat to this specific area after looking at all the available data, and getting the local government involved. The most important part is getting the local government involved. So if we have a heat action plan designed by NRDC or by any other one of the lovely non-profits that work in India with us, that would not serve the purpose. The purpose would be served if the local authority, the gentleman who runs that local authority, the person who is the heat officer or the cooling officer of that authority, that person should own that document. Then only it will succeed. And the second is you have early warning systems, you have various other ways and means by which that heat action plan concretizes everything. So that is something that we have been pushing. Nearly 200 such plans, sir, have been finalized in India for city levels, smaller cities, very small cities also, larger ones definitely, for states as well. We are now trying to scale it up to another 300. So once these 200 plus 300, 400 heat action plans are in place, then the big job for all of us again starts to how to push it through. So getting the district magistrates oriented and bringing the heat action plans down on pen and paper, that is the basic task that NDMA has taken upon itself over the next few years. The Ministry of Home Affairs has included heat in its list of hazards to be mitigated. So as many of us are aware, that Government of India has approved $30 billion over 5 years in its 15th Finance Commission recommendations that were approved by Government of India in 2021. So for 5 years, from 2021 to 2026, $30 billion were put forward for disaster management. Of these $30 billion, $6 billion were for mitigation to be spent over 5 years. In this past financial year, the Government of India has approved $850 million worth of mitigation programs, not for heat, but for landslides, glacial lakes, lightning, drought, and we are also working on a big program on earthquake mitigation. So a lot of work has been done in Government of India on how to mitigate disasters. We are one of the first countries to have brought in the concept of mitigation into our law, into our expense budget, and we have put forward so much of money for it. So we are trying to make this a standardized concept. We want all our friends and national partners, international partners to basically spread the message on how mitigation can be pushed through central or a federal government initiating programs like this. So that in a nutshell is what I wanted to say. I don't wish to take too much time because we are all waiting to listen to what the Honorable Minister will say. So we are just adding a little bit more pressure on him. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Those were some great insights. And now to take it forward, I would request Sri Arvind Kumar, Special Chief Secretary, Disaster Management, Government of Telangana, to join us online. Thank you so much, sir. We are so grateful to have you here online. So all attention to the screen, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'll start. Firstly, my apologies for not being present in person. There is some emergency which is going on, and therefore I couldn't travel. The subject which Dr. Safiriji was just talking about, the role of state government and how we can kind of address this issue. I'll be concentrating from implementation point of view and what the state government can do basically. We have all seen that in recent years, there has been a marked increase in frequency, duration, and intensity of heat waves. I also would like to highlight the point that urbanization is an inevitable process. All India level, we are around 30% is the urban population, and it's likely to be around 50% by 2050. Some of the southern states, in particular Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra, are already urban states with more than 45% of its population as the urban population. The only kind of issue which we need to kind of understand is that most of this urbanization which is happening right now is unplanned migration from rural areas, leading to urban sprawls, unplanned growth, and most of these are engaged in blue collar workers at the low end, and they stay in tin sheds or asbestos sheets, etc. And their working hours are normally between 9 and 6 p.m., which is the kind of harshest time during the day in summer. Now, with this, that is how the urbanization is increasing. There are certain steps, and I would like to draw your attention to a report which was recently published. It's a policy research working paper titled Prioritizing Heat Mitigation Action in Indian Cities. It's by a World Bank group. It was published in October 2024, where I'll just draw the attention to the fact it says that heat waves remains a hidden hazard whose impacts are unrecognized or underreported primarily due to measurement and valuation challenges. And therefore, there is a key knowledge gap on the relative efficacy of various actions which are being undertaken to address the heat wave or urban heat island impact. Three things this report in particular highlight, and it says benefit to cost ratios of our interventions. First one, urban greening investments. Overall, it says that it covers more than the cost based on the health and labor productivity benefits of the heat stress reduction they yield. That is, first is urban greening investment. Second is the most effective intervention, it says, is that early warning system in these months offer the greatest harm reduction per dollar invested. That is, the benefit cost ratio exceeds 50:1. So as per this report, the most important would be early warning system whenever this heat waves or periods are there. And this, they call it as low hanging fruits. Now I'll come to some of the interventions what we have done at the state level. First is the green effort, which this World Bank paper also highlighted. Telangana has a policy where last 10 years it was formed into a state in 2014, and since then the greening effort has been taken in the entire state on a very massive scale. There are reports of Government of India Ministry of Environment which clearly points out that the green cover in the state has increased from the present level what it was in 2014 by 7% at the end of 2023. That's a massive increase in green cover. And also for all the urban areas, all the urban local bodies, we have mandated in the act was modified in 2021, whereby we are saying that the 10% of the local body's budget will be named as green budget and will be used for purpose of increasing the greenery in urban areas. Now, the obvious question is, where is the land to kind of improve this kind of greenery? What we have provided for, as Safi was earlier mentioning the role of district collector, that if the urban area doesn't have that kind of space, in that joining space, in the urban development authority area, which is about 50-kilometer radius around each of these urban local bodies, vacant government lands or lands which are arable and are not fit for cultivation would be identified and would be taken up for green cover. And this is again yielding very good results. So 10% of our local body budget is marked as green budget and is to be used for the purpose of increasing the greenery. Just to give an example, Hyderabad being the state capital, the 10% budget comes to something like rupees 500 crores, and that's a major amount so far as initiating green efforts are concerned, so that money or resources are not a constraint. This also includes working on water bodies, protecting water bodies, taking up massive green cover along the water bodies bunds. So this is the first effort which I would like to highlight. Second is I'm also happy to kind of acknowledge the active role of NRDC. We also have Administrative Staff College of India in Hyderabad, then Palaksha University, which is in Chandigarh, where especially Dr. Vishal. We have been working together, NRDC, ASCII, and Dr. Vishal of Palaksha, that on some of the state-specific measures. I'll start by pointing out the ECBC, which is Energy Conservation Building Code. This was started sometime in the year 2017-18, and the importance of how a state government can improve the cooling effect or mitigate the urban heat island impact through policy measures is highlighted by the fact that we, for ECBC, Energy Conservation Building Code, we have made it mandatory for all buildings, firstly, which have a load of more than 100 kilowatt, or which have a contract demand of 120 kilowatt hours, or built up area of 2000 square meters, or having a site area of 1000 square meters. All such buildings mandatorily will have to have ECBC installed, failing which the occupancy certificate, that is once the building is constructed, the OC for that building shall not be given to the particular owner. So by this, what we have ensured is that all the hospitals, likewise all educational institutions, all hotels, commercial complexes, shopping malls, and other such buildings, office buildings, they are all installed with ECBC. Two major examples are, one is the Hyderabad airport, and the second is IKEA. Now, these are two major buildings which are having the ECBC installations. And just to give an idea how the total impact, there are about 1100 buildings which are now ECBC compliant since it was taken up in the state, with a total area of more than 200 million square meters covered under this. Energy savings is to the tune of 500 gigawatt hour per annum, which is equivalent to almost 120 megawatt of thermal power, running about 4,800 hours a year. So this is one effort which is still going on. It's an ongoing effort. The second one is, again, with the very, very active association of NRDC and Dr. Vishal of Palaksha, we introduced the state cool roofing policy in 2023, which was for a period of 5 years. And some of the features of that was, we are saying that all buildings, so the ECBC was mainly for commercial and non-residential, but here cool roofing, we are saying all types of residential buildings with a plot size of 600 square yards or more, all government and semi-government buildings, all non-residential and commercial buildings irrespective of site area, and government-assisted housing projects. All these must have cool roofing provided for them. We have also indicated a year-wise target, and we are saying by the end of 2028, a total of 200 square kilometers of built-up area shall have cool roofing provided. And I'm very happy to confirm that for the first 3 years, we are already exceeding the target in cool roofing for the state. And there are studies which confirm that there is at least temperature difference of more than 2 degrees whenever such efforts are taken up. In addition, we have also taken up certain steps. So I just wanted to highlight the importance of ECBC and cool roofing and how a policy at the state level, instead of struggling and reaching to each of the target segments, builders, etc., we are saying here's a policy, it is mandatory, and OC shall not be issued if you don't provide this. That way, we are ensuring that pool roofing or ECBC is provided, and most of the builders now have come back saying that the cost of providing pool roofing is recovered in less than 1.5 years, and after that, it's all the savings. In addition, we have also taken up certain more steps. For example, NDMA had earlier kind of included heat waves as one of the disasters. Likewise, the state government of Telangana has included the heat and heat-related deaths as one of the state-level disasters. Thereby, ex gratia, etc., will be arranged. However, the advisory which is being given, we have kept it very simple. It is a sector specific. For agriculture, there is a particular advisory regarding heat waves. For urban areas, for schools, for construction workers, these are very, very specific advisories, and these are issued to concerned bodies. Very simply put, we have asked all the district collectors in all districts and municipal commissioners to arrange as many water kiosks as possible.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, please.
Hello, sir. This is the MC, Anisha. So we are running a little late. So I would request you to sum up your session.
2 minutes. So first I'm saying water kiosk. Second, ORS is provided in all the schools, all the bus stations, bus stands, wherever people sit. We have issued a simple advisory: cover your head whenever you are going out. Take special care of elderly, children, sick, and see that they don't go out during the peak summer time between 12 and 3, and stay as much indoors as possible, etc., etc. So basically, these sector-specific advisories, declaring heat as one of the disasters now, etc. These, I hope, will kind of help us mitigate the ill effects of heat in this coming season also. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for such an interesting perspective, and thank you for joining us, joining the forum. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our keynote address, and I'm honored to invite on stage Honorable Minister Dr. Chandrasekhar Pemasani, the Minister of State for Rural Development and Communications, Government of India. Make sure we give him a warm welcome, who gives great importance to Indian Standard Time.
Thank you. Respected Sri Samir Kwatra ji, Ms. Deepa Pagai ji, Sri Safi Hassan Razvi ji, Arvind Kumar ji, Dr. Anita Gupta ji, Abbas Jha ji, Manish Bapna ji, and all the honored guests, distinguished delegates, and passionate challengers. Thank you. Good afternoon. Namaskar. It is an immense pleasure and pride to honor this esteemed gathering at the Global Heat and Cooling Forum. As we were discussing, this forum could not be more timely as we prepare for another scorching summer in Delhi, exceeding the temperatures of more than 40 degrees Celsius. It's clear that climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is the biggest challenge we face today. Heat stress is the silent crisis reshaping our economy, our health, and our communities. And we cannot afford to look away. As a physician, I have witnessed what heat can do to a human body, whether it is dehydration, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke, which could turn fatal. For the last 25 years, I was also in US working on an EdTech, mainly staying in indoors. I really didn't experience that much heat. But over the last 1 year, I started contesting in elections, and I did 2 to 3 months of intense campaign in April and May, which is the hottest months in India. At least I could remember at least 3 or 4 times I was just close to heat stroke. Because so that is the effect that heat can do. And not only that, heat waves have already claimed over 11,000 lives since 2009, making them India's deadliest natural disaster after cyclones. But the impact extends beyond health, as many of you know. By 2050, it is estimated more than 200 million people will be affected, and our GDP could cut down by close to 4.5% because most of our informal workforce dependent on outdoor labor. Therefore, heat is not just a climate issue, it is a human crisis. As the mercury rises, access to cooling is no longer a privilege and it becomes a fundamental right. So as the demand for cooling increases, we must also ensure that people have affordable and sustainable cooling measures or cooling solutions. So recognizing these risks, our Honorable Prime Minister, the visionary leader, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has taken a decisive action by becoming the first country in the world to develop a comprehensive cooling action plan. By promoting energy efficient cooling systems, phasing out harmful refrigerants, and prioritizing vulnerable communities, we are paving the way for a cooler, more resilient future. And in this spectrum, rural India faces the brunt of extreme heat. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, and prolonged droughts directly impact agriculture, food security, water availability, and public health. But rural India is not just vulnerable, but it is also the heart of solution. Recognizing this dual role, the Ministry of Rural Development, under India's comprehensive whole of a government approach, has proactively introduced sustainable measures. For example, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, called Manrega Act. It has helped create climate adaptive infrastructure, including water conservative systems, shade plantations, and drought mitigation projects. Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, the rural connectivity road, connected nearly every remotest village so that even during the extremes of the climate, people have access to all weather roads. And then Jal Jeevan Mission. The idea is to provide safe drinking water from sustainable resources so that every household, regardless of the climate, can have a clean water. And then we implemented one ambitious mission Amrit Sarovar project. This is rejuvenating close to 68,000 water ponds. That is effectively covering every district around 60-70 so that the local water availability and the soil health will be improved. And this was done on a mission mode and completed by October 2024 last year. Additionally, we have taken Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sanchay Yojana watershed development program. This will create some check dams where it's needed so the soil erosion can be prevented and the groundwater can be recharged. So as climate extremes intensify, we not only took the action at the field level, but we started working at the housing level as well. And this is where Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gramin, comes into play. Since 2016, we have built over 3 crores, that means 30 million houses, providing millions of rural families which are economically disadvantaged with safe, dignified and resilient homes. But now, with the World Bank, we're going one step further with this SHIELD project. SHIELD is nothing but sustainable housing, integrating efficient living and disaster resilience. And it is designed to make rural housing cooler, more energy efficient, and more disaster resilient. We are embedding climate adaptive designs, energy efficient technologies into new housing construction. We're also strengthening access to affordable credit, ensuring that families can invest in cooling solutions without much financial burden. In addition, we are also integrating this Awas Yojana with another path-breaking scheme, Pradhan Mantri Surya Ghar Yojana. This is basically giving subsidies for these households. By investing a little bit, they can install solar panels on the rooftops where they could utilize their own generated power for their house and then sell the surplus power to the grid. So again, it's creating local resilience. So these are only some of the schemes that I have mentioned, but every state at their own level are doing some innovative things, as earlier just Telangana State Chief Secretary has mentioned. So the government will not only stop here and will continue to innovate and find creative solutions. So I wanted to thank everyone involved in this conference, NDMA, DST, NRDC, the World Bank, for taking the critical discussion. And I hope these insights and innovations from this forum will shape not only India, but around the world, some creative solutions. Before I conclude, I want to put two ideas. One should remember that India has long revered nature as an integral part of its culture, and its traditional knowledge systems have always promoted sustainability. This is not new to India. For example, in my own state, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, community managed water tanks, millet-based farming, and homes built with local materials such as clay naturally combat drought and heat. So these low-cost rural innovations should guide national climatic changes and strategies. So policy must not only serve villages, and it must learn from the rural villages. And finally, protecting and replenishing the natural resources is not the job of a single nation or an organization. It is a collective effort. If governments, businesses, professionals such as architects, educators, NGOs, citizens, and another powerful partner, technology, join hands, I have no doubt we can educate, stimulate, and ultimately cultivate the path to a truly sustainable future. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. बहुत धन्यवाद for your thoughts, for your insights, and for giving us your valuable time. Thank you once again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we now have Dr. Anita Gupta, Head of Scientific Divisions, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Let's keep the applause coming. And it's a kind request to you, ma'am, and to the... Yes, thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, I would also request you to join for the group photo op. I would also request Ms. Deepa Bagai to felicitate our Honorable Minister. So we'll take another 10 seconds of your time. Thank you once again, sir. Indeed, lovely to have you here. All right, it's a kind request to the rest of the speakers to kindly adhere to the timings, to the allotted timings. For your convenience, we have kept the timer on the preview monitor.
So, good afternoon, everyone. The stage has been set. Why are we here? So, first, let me thank the prime movers of this first of its kind, a unique program of the day. That's a Global Heating and Cooling Forum, where we are here to discuss the ways, strategies, approaches, and solutions for making our world a much more livable to combat the heat. I am thankful to NRDC, World Bank, and NDMA for this event of today's, and DST is a proud partner in this whole insightful deliberations which are to take place today and tomorrow. So, why DST is here? So, needless to say, every problem has to be attempted through knowledge, insights, and evidences. As the evidences are very clear, the ferocity and the frequency and the duration of extreme weather events triggered by global warming, which are anthropogenic emissions to say, are the root cause. And how do we really target this climate change adaptation as well as mitigation strategies? DST is currently driving on both the ends. We are driving 2 missions, national missions, out of the 10 national missions on climate change. They are focused on strategic knowledge on climate change as well as sustaining Himalayan ecosystem. And on the mitigation front, we are actually collaborating with multitude of organizations. At the one hand, we are equipping our set of institutions and creating critical mass of researchers to focus on the possible solutions to combat this crisis of current times. If we really analyze the way we dealt with the COVID unprecedented health crisis of COVID pandemic, wherein all stakeholders, including government, institutions, researchers, industry bodies, startups came together. I think the similar approach, if we really need to adopt to really compress the innovation to market timeline, and if that can happen where we were not at all prepared. Now with these kind of deliberations happening every now and then, and with the collective strength of people who have gathered, the collective knowledge and wisdom, we really need to come out with the blueprint of the solutions and approaches to combat the heating, alleviating the heat stress and coming out with the possible solutions. DST currently is also part of the global platform, which is Mission Innovation to catalyze R&D in clean energy domain. And one of the key platform, there are 7 missions underway. One of the key platform is on sustainable heating and cooling solutions with UK as a partner. And since 7-8 years, we have collectively infused a funding of close to 13 million USD, and 50% of the funding has gone into really come out with the new technologies and solutions to tackle this the issue of heating and cooling. And we have supported close to 60 odd institutions, engaged with 60 industry partners, and we have created 25 test beds of technologies in this domain. And I think the way we are progressing as the you can say most populous country, 5th largest economy, and also we are gearing up to fulfill our NDC's commitment As we progress economically, 20 million square meter of built-up space is to be added, and as per IEA, 10% of the GHG emissions are emitted from the built environment. So we really need to work collectively to come out with the solutions where we can provide the not only the thermal comfort, but also engage with a meaningful collaboration with the like-minded partners to really reach all the strata of the society and bridge the divide which we are having. So as we move forward, we have to, the way urbanization, the economic development is going to take place, we have to really come out with a solution and approaches for not only just clean energy transition, but it should be inclusive, sustainable, and climate resilient solutions. So thank you all, and I look forward to the key.
Let me stop here. Again, huge congratulations to the organizers, and I really look forward to the 2 days of discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, sir. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Manish Bapna, the President and CEO of NRDC, for the closing remarks. Mr. Bapna has been a leading voice in the global climate movement, advocating for equitable and sustainable solutions. Let's give him a warm welcome with a round of applause. He's not wasting time to come here as well.
Great. Thank you all for joining us today. A special thanks to our speakers, Safi Arvand, Anita Abbas, and of course, the Minister. I also want to thank NDMA, Department of Science and Technology, and of course, the World Bank for co-hosting, co-organizing this meeting. I just want to say two things. The first is, I was struck, Samir, where are you, Samir? Why are we here? You know, why am I here? So I wanted to answer that question. I'm here because I cannot, this is, in my mind, the moral tragedy of our times. When we think about what is happening in wealthy countries or with wealthy individuals, what they are doing to the climate, and who ultimately is suffering, bearing the cost. That gets at the heart of who we are as a society, who we are as a civilization. And we need to confront the reality of what is at stake here. And it is both about the deep effort we must make to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. We must not take the foot off the need to reduce emissions in the rich world and with rich communities. And to some extent, part of what we're trying to do today is to talk a little bit about how we make cooling climate friendly. The other piece of this conversation is how we deal with extreme heat, how we deal with resilience, how we actually build ways in which to address the impacts that will already be increasingly felt. As someone who has spent a lot of time both in the United States and in India, the recognition of who benefits and who suffers is so visible to me. And it is something that we must all recognize and confront. And that is what this conference is about. It is about looking at what are the solutions that we are seeing emerge. What are the proof of concepts? You've heard people talk about early warning systems. You've heard people talk about building codes. The Honorable Minister spoke about a number of solutions. It's also about how we think about scale. It is one thing to have a solution that works in a particular place. It is another about how we look at replication, how we look at scale. In questions around governance, questions around finance, questions around communications and public awareness are at the heart of how we get to scale. And finally, it is also about equity and how we protect the most vulnerable communities and make sure they are not the ones paying the price as we make this transition. It is about the heat divide. So, we have a lot to do. It is about solutions, it is about scale, it is about equity. We are delighted to see such interest in these conversations about bringing cooling and how we respond to extreme heat together. We thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to a very stimulating set of conversations over the week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir, for your invaluable insights and your incredible leadership. Definitely looking forward to the conversations to come. Now, I would request Ms. Deepa Bagai to come forward and felicitate all our speakers on stage. They won't be done till the time they say left to right, right to left. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to all our speakers. I would request Mr. Bapna to stay back on stage in order to moderate the next session, and request the rest of our speakers and dignitaries to kindly take their seats off stage.